you limitations. Okay, so there. And applying it in modern day, actually, there's a recent case concerning Facebook. Okay, this happened in 2014. Senior high, listen, graduating, especially the grade 12. Uh, they had the party, but of course, you won't have one in the near future. They had a party, and then someone uploaded their pictures going to the bar, smoking cigarette, and and someone uploaded a picture of them inside the washroom or the changing room, only in their intimate wear. So someone reported it to one of the teachers in this particular school, and the teacher verified, saw it on Facebook, accessed it via a computer inside the school, and true enough, yeah, it was posted. But then um, the defendants here, the students and the parents, said that it was set to friends only. And the thing is, how many friends do you have? Diba? Uh, Maybe let's ask Enya. How many friends do you have on Facebook, Enya, for example?
1,700.
Oh, 700. So they said friends only. You have, for example, the example of Enya, 1,700, the potential of that being shared to 1,700 plus their friends, plus their friends. So you get the point, right? So don't upload it anymore if you are not sure about it. So there. So how do the three tests apply here in this particular case, right? Of course, you have the freedom of expression. You can upload pictures, right? Maybe you have your own Instagram accounts. Yeah, yeah, well and fine. As long as you're not going against the school's policies, diba? So the Fraser test comes into play already, right? So there. For That's why the motto is, for every thinker there's a Fraser. Okay, so remember that for every thinker that you have, there is a Fraser. Okay, and especially if you're in the ed board, you have your Hazelwood. Okay, don't forget that. So there. So let's go to uh, habit formation. So how do you form habits? Okay, of course, I enumerated four: attitude, management, accountability, and the ultimate goal is legacy. Okay, your attitude. How do you approach, or how do you think about your routines in school, for example? Do you really dread waking up early? I don't know how early your first period is in school, but if you dread it, but you have to do it. That's discipline. There are things that you don't want to do, but you have to do it in order for you to excel. Okay. For example, Heidelin Diaz are the first gold medalist for weightlifting in female. Of course, maybe she loves doing some exercises, maybe the compound movements, but there are exercises that she has to do that maybe she doesn't like doing it at all, especially maybe the accessory work, right? Some really have a hard time, or they are too lazy doing accessory work, maybe to address certain weaknesses in their muscles, in their joints. So that's an example. But look at where she ended up, right? She became a gold medalist already. So there are really things that you don't like doing, but you have to do it, and that is part of discipline. Okay, maybe you don't like waking up early, but you have to do it. It's part of the discipline formation of your school. Waking up early, being in class on time. So I'm actually happy that when I entered the room, there are a lot of you already inside the room. Okay, so there. So because we respect each other's time. Okay, that's another thing. Okay. Or if you really cannot make it, then tell it honestly to the person you are meeting. Okay, so that's why, that's why you recall the video a while ago, uh forming habits, right? Because like I said, if your school allows tardiness, they do not address it, then it will become your habit eventually in the future, that it's all right, it's fine to be late all the time. Okay, but I believe PSD has a good policy on attendance and punctuality. Okay, so these are just some tips as you see on screen. Okay, especially when you engage online. Okay, actually, this was already addressed in that particular case, the Vivaris versus STC, St. Teresa's College. Okay, so there, keep private your information. Okay, do not divulge everything. Okay, so keep some to yourself. Portray your family, school, and community in a positive light. Make sure content is appropriate for a wide public audience. What you post online can stay for a long period of time. Watch your words. Your posts speak so much about you. Okay, so being a digital citizen, be polite, respectful, treat others how you would like to be treated. Do not post anything you wouldn't want teachers, family, and friends to see. You cannot believe everything you read and see online. Okay, so fake news is very prevalent right now. So be careful. Okay, you have to be very critical about what you see and what you hear online. Tell an adult if something makes you uncomfortable, scared, or confused. Okay, so of course, because your parents, your teachers cannot be there 24/7 to monitor what you are doing online. So you have to be really careful. You have to be very cautious of what you are doing online, the sites you're visiting. Okay. So I believe the school has reminded you enough of that. Your school has reminded you enough of that. I I found this particular study. This is a study on time management. Okay, this was done this was done with graduate students. Okay, so what they found out was the dedication of time done by the students. So actually, this is not surprising at all if you would see the results revealed that study takes. But of course, these are graduate students. We're not sure with the dedication of basic education students. Okay, so 6 to 10 hours. Can you dedicate 10 hours of your time studying? Okay, but of course, your classes already constitute study time. Okay, so if you have 8 hours of study, then add two more, then that's 10 hours already. Social media. So I'm not sure if this is also true to you. They say that they dedicated 1 to 5 hours of being in social media. But of course, sometimes, especially right now, we have no choice. This is our way of communicating with each other, right? Maybe with I'm not sure if this is how your teachers communicate with you also, but this is the most convenient way of communicating with you. And sleeping, rest, I hope you are taking your sleep seriously. Okay. So they said that they also take 6 to 10 hours. I'm not sure with you if you also take 6 to 10 hours, or do you have the luxury of sleeping 10 hours a day? Okay. But what's notable here is that almost all students were reported to not have any regular physical exercise. Actually, only 20% who participated in the study said that they dedicate at least uh, 1 to 5 hours of exercise. Okay, so especially right now with you, you are confined with your homes. Maybe most of the time, you are sedentary. You're just sitting there, listening to your classes or doing your schoolwork. So let's find time. And myself, I have no choice but to be active because I have 2 young children, and they will demand you to be active. They say, "Daddy, play with me," or "Daddy, I want to ride on your back." So no choice. You have to be really active with them. Okay. So this is how they ranked. Okay, their management, their priorities rather, with their activities. So uh, educational activities rank one, social media, rest, eating. So you see, no, social media takes a higher spot than eating. Diba? So you'd rather starve than to be offline. So yeah, let that sink in with you. But of course, grooming takes number six. Grooming. Well, maybe now for you because you don't have to leave your home. So, but of course, I hope you still do groom and other activities. So there. Uh, yeah. Next would be accountability. That was on management. Okay. So how you manage your activities, your time. But of course, time is finite, especially in a school year. You're given a week, you're given a day to submit your activities, you're given a school year to pass, right? So that is finite. So it all depends on how you allocate your time and expertise on a certain subject. Okay. Uh, you really have to prioritize the short term ones than the long term ones, but you have to plan out already the long term ones, especially if you have a project in the future. Of course, your teacher will already inform you how to go about with that project. So, but of course, you have to prioritize those that have deadlines that are nearing already. So that's the logical way of doing it. Okay. But of course, do not forget your other necessities also. Okay. So I hope your school accommodates well to your needs. So accountability. Okay. So Attorney Estrada, one of the leading attorneys when it comes to education, okay, he posted this in his Facebook. Okay. If you don't make students accountable for their bad behavior, they will never value their education. I'm all for child protection, but I'm also for strengthening student discipline policies, empowering our teachers and school administrators as special parents, and recognizing teachers as persons in authority. If students do not learn how to respect their teachers now, they'll never respect authorities when they grow up. So that's why also they keep on saying, and maybe your parents are there, if you keep on defending your child, maybe one day you need a lawyer to defend them also. So that's why your school personnel is here, your prefect, your guidance, your principal, your teacher, your advisor. They are there to make sure that you grow up having the right kind of attitude, having the right kind of behavior. Okay, but of course, it all boils down to you. What are you going to do? Okay, so that's why I added the fourth one, legacy. Okay, how do you want people to remember you by when you grow older? How do you want your school to remember you when you leave PSD, especially for the senior high, for the grade 12 students here with us right now? These pictures, the first one, this was taken when I received the Outstanding Student Leader when I was in college. I was speaking in front of the other achievers at that time. And the one to the right is a text message I received from one of our parents saying that they are glad to that I would be mentoring their child, their student. I'm handling grade 10 students right now. So this is a question that I would leave to you, PSDNs. How do you want to be remembered by? Because the things that you do in school, how you present yourself, the behaviors that you exhibit to other people, that is how you will be remembered by. And especially when you are already an alumni, an alumnus, an alumna of the school, you will carry that. And that's why, of course, when you become successful in life, the school will always attribute, that's a graduate of ano, that's a graduate of PSD, or that's an alumni of our school. We are very proud. That's why they put up tarpaulin, maybe billboard. I'm not sure if it reaches a billboard. Okay, but of course, if you are caught in a controversial issue, and the school might want to distance itself from you. Okay, so they will not even mention that you are a graduate of that particular school. So but then again, because your prefect mentioned to me that there are prevalent cases of academic dishonesty going on right now, nothing new. It's not peculiar with your school, it's also happening with us. Okay, and it's not just with our schools, maybe it's across. Okay, because of course, number one, you are confined with your homes. We're not sure how you are accessing your internet and all with the assessments that you have. Okay, but we have to remember, you are already at a disadvantage because the mode that we are using right now cannot really be optimized in such a way that how we do it in physical classes. So if you will be dishonest with your work, if you would plagiarize an original work, then is that the kind of legacy that you want to be remembered by? Because in legal terms, also legacy is something that you leave behind your family members, right? Your properties, even your even down to the last centavo, that is your legacy to them. But of course, in the ones that are intangible, the ones that you have done when you were alive, or when you are a member of a school like Philippine School Doha, those are the things, those are the actions that you will be remembered by. Okay. Will they remember you as a student council who actually led the school, the student body, into having a positive and enlightening experience with the school? Or were you a student council just for the sake of the title or the prestige? That's a question. Or did you enter the ed board to have a channel to rant about the school, a nonstop ranting about the school, that you never found something good, positive about the school? Or will you become the ed board that will actually reveal the truth and become a responsible journalist, a student journalist? Okay. On a side note, you are called, for those who are members of the student council, you're called student leaders. For those who are members of the link, you are called student journalists. The lesson that was left by our chancellor during my time as student council was, always remember that you are a student first before you became a leader. That hence the hyphenation of student leader, hence the hyphenation of student journalist. Always remember, you are a student before you became a leader. You are a student before you became a journalist. Strike the balance between the two. Okay, you cannot always reason out that, sir or miss, I have an activity for the student council, I cannot attend your class, blah 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 blah. If you do that all the time, you are sacrificing something already. Of course, your teachers will accommodate your schedule. Okay, so they sometimes will excuse you, especially when you are doing well in class. But always strike a balance between your activities in school and your academics also. Okay, so always remember, diba? You have a duty to study well. Okay, but do not neglect your studies because you have your extracurriculars. That's why they're called extracurriculars, for a reason. Okay, but of course, do not also neglect your extracurriculars because you volunteered for that one, you signed up for that one, you were elected, especially for the student council, you were elected. You are given the mandate of the student body to lead them, to represent them. Okay, so do not neglect that also. find the Goldilocks zone of striking the balance between academics and your co-curricular activities. Okay, so I think I end. Yeah, I think I am done with my talk. Yeah, so there. So I want to keep it short because of course I'm only given 45 minutes. I hope that I am within the time limit habits, right? So we cannot exceed time. So, but I hope that you have picked up something today. You have picked up something worthwhile, and always remember all the things that we do always carry a consequence. So I hope that you remember the kind of legacy that you want to leave your school, your family, your friends, and when you are gone, how will they remember you? So thank you and good afternoon to you there at Qatar.
Thank you very much for that very enlightening and informative lecture, Sir Jonathan. Now, students, if you have any questions, now is the time to raise them. Feel free to use the chat box if you have any questions or comment in the Facebook Live via your teacher. Thank you. Someone is raising their hand. Would you like to ask something po, Kuya?
Yes.
Yes po.
My question is, sorry if I don't pronounce your name properly. I'll just say this, Jonathan David. This may sound personal, but what's your experience with discipline? Since you've been talking about it for a while, what's your experience?
Actually, when I was still studying, when I was your age, I'm a goody two shoes. I'm afraid to make a mistake. uh, actually, because I was also raised by my grandmother. She's a disciplinarian, and actually, when she requires a grade of 90 in all my assessments. So if I get a line of 8, I need an explanation letter prepared already or an explanation speech as to why I got a line of 8 in one of my tests. So that's you see the habits that they form when you were younger. So even in college, I imbibed those habits that I have to study well because my grandmother put a premium on education because she herself did not finish her studies. I believe she only reached grade 1 or 2. So that's why she made sure that her grandchildren do not end up with the same fate. So if you would ask me, yeah, it's my grandmother who was very influential in my younger years growing up because my parents were working rather, sorry. They were working and it's my grandmother who took care of us, even tutored us when we were growing up. And yeah, but of course, her style of discipline will not work for this generation anymore because we lived in a generation where they roll up calendars. they, uh, uh, yeah, it's really the calendar that they used to strike us. So of course, that is not allowed anymore. Corporal punishment is not allowed anymore, and it's not really a good way of disciplining us children. Good communication is important. You have to communicate with your parents. They have to communicate with you, of course. There should be an open line, especially with your teachers, also with your teachers. Okay, because if there is a hindrance, if there's a wall that's separating you, then I think that's where the conflict begins because you don't understand each other. Do not expect that your parents will ultimately understand you because you don't live in the same generation. We lived in the generation of dial-ups. You live in the generation of DSL, Wi-Fi, or something like that. So, uh, and even myself, I'm not in your generation anymore. I will not totally understand your your fandoms or whatnot. Okay, but of course, we will try to reach out to you. Okay, so I believe that's the best answer that I could give to your question, Albert. So thank you for that question.
All right, thank you, sir. Are there any more questions? You can drop them in the chat box or in the comment section in the Facebook Live. Actually, someone said here, if you want to be remembered, you must do something for the community. I think that's right. Any questions, PSTNs? Okay, if there are none, let us just proceed to the awarding of certificate to our speaker, to be followed by the closing remarks. Now, may I call on our VP OSA, Ma'am Melissa Armontaire, to do the honors. Ma'am Mel, you may award the speaker with his certificate po.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Jonathan David R. Hubilia, CP UPLC MAED LPT, for sharing his expertise as a resource speaker in the Discipline Week online seminar entitled Discipline, Building Better Habits for a Better You, held on August 2, 2021. Given the second day of August 2021 at Philippine School Doha, Doha, State of Qatar. Signed, Myla Picula, Prefect of Discipline, yours truly, Melissa Armontaire, VP OSA, and our school principal, Dr. Alexander S. Acosta. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much also for the opportunity to speak to your students po.
So we have heard the insights from our very own expert in the field of discipline, Mr. Jonathan David R. Hubilia. Truly, discipline is well explained as a responsibility of both the school and the students. Equally, each individual is accountable for each other's behavior. Our speaker has also emphasized the importance of combined knowledge, attitude, and skills in developing this discipline. So for this school year 2020-2021, the Discipline Week at Philippine School Doha is celebrated in the month of August with its theme, Developing a Power Habit of Discipline. The purpose of this program is to imbibe discipline in order to achieve the long-term goals of the school, as it is an integral part of our daily life. In today's seminar entitled Discipline, Building Better Habits for a Better You, this program hopes to show how students can incorporate acts of discipline to their everyday life, as well as acknowledge its importance to one's personal growth and character development. It also aims to guide students to become well-mannered members of the community and develop one's sense of responsibility and accountability for his or her actions. Through the efforts of the respective academic departments who collaborated with us in the conduct of this program and make this into a success, the Intermediate Department headed by Dr. Wilgemay T. Serna, the Junior High School Department headed by Dr. Caridad A. Cañete, and the Senior High School Department headed by Dr. Noemi F. Formaran, teachers and non-teaching staff, particularly Mr. Ronel De Jesus, member of the ITRT team making this possible via live of the OSA FB page. I would like to recognize your generosity of time and efforts in order to accomplish this activity. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the man who serves as a stimulus for us to implement the necessary programs of our students, our school principal, Dr. Alexander S. Acosta. His motivation steers us and his inspiring example of being a leader ignites us to do our best in delivering our services for the students. To all the students who attended in today's online activity, I would like to acclaim and express my gratitude to everyone for attending this program. I hope that you learned something from the talk of our speaker, that you will be able to apply the simple acts of discipline to your daily routines, practice discipline, and improve your behavioral aspects for your own good. To the parents behind the camera, your support given to your children does a great lot of motivation for them to do better, not only in the academics, but also in developing themselves as well. Thank you for your support by allowing your children to join in this webinar. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the link under the leadership of teacher Len Castro for being with us to document this activity that we implement for the benefit of the students. And to the three most significant people working with me in the realization of this activity, Mrs. Myla Kula, the Prefect of Discipline, who initiates and collaborates with me. Her perseverance, determination, and hard work in pursuing the program is highly encouraging and persuading. With the assistance and commitment of our discipline formation consultant, Ms. Monette Kayatok, whose wisdom in reviewing the relevance and the nature of the activity is equally inspiring for me in order to continue developing our students' character. To our Peace Envoy Ambassadress, Ms. Enya Lardizabal, for her compassionate and dedicated service to the office. Saying this, I would like to take this opportunity to officially introduce her to everyone. Her contribution has placed a great value in the accomplishment of the school vision mission concerning the discipline aspect of her exemplification for the students in general. Last but never the least, on behalf of all the members of the PSD family, from the depth of our hearts, our gratitude to you as our resource speaker, Mr. Jonathan David R. Hubilia, for sharing your precious time with us to impart your knowledge and wisdom. Your selfless service to render your expertise with us through this online event is greatly appreciated and can never be equated with any material thing in return. Apart from us, though distance divides us, your bounteousness to serve others is clearly entrenched in your personal being. And for this, we'd like to say thank you, sir, for sharing your life with us today. Once again, good afternoon and God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, Mamel. And thank you, congratulations again to our speaker, Sir Jonathan. Of course, thank you as well to our fellow PSDNs for your time. I hope that you have your own takeaways from this webinar. Remember to think about how you want to be remembered in the school and also to remember that for every thinker, there is a Fraser. We also hope to see you again on our future programs. This has been Enya Lardizabal, your Peace Envoy Ambassadress, saying goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you. What the heck?
I can't leave the meeting! Yeah.